Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwartner and welcome to Selling Power TV. Today we have the pleasure of meeting with Victor Antonio, and he is going to have a wonderful new show called Family Takeover.
It's a new show on Spike TV. Will launch in October.
How did you sell the idea of a show?
You know, people keep asking me the question, how did it happen? How did it come about? And they actually found me online, which is why video is always good to have online. And so they came across one of my videos, and what was interesting, the story behind the story is that they were looking for somebody who wasn't so motivational. They wanted somebody who was more serious, can be very incisive, be very direct, that whole thing. And so when they saw my motivational videos, they kind of liked it. And then they saw an interview I did over Skype, which is more terse, and they go, okay, I think we like this guy. And I remember the producer called me and says, hey, we're looking for a host. We'd like to talk to you about this show. And I'm like, really? Come on. You know. And I said, call me back in 15 minutes. I got to check in. I mean, just totally blew him off, right? And so 15 minutes later, he calls up. He calls me back and says, okay, are you ready to talk now? I said, yeah, okay, so what is it? So he says, well, we got this show concept we'd like to talk to you about. I said, okay, what is it? So it's about coming in and helping families who are struggling. You know, great topic, right? But I said, okay, you know, we had a great conversation. He says, you know what, Victor, I think I'd like you to talk to our production company, people who run the production company. And about a week later, we set the call up again, had a conversation with the guy, had a good conversation, but he wasn't sold. You know, if we're talking about selling, he wasn't sold on me. And finally, he asked me the question, he goes, Victor, can you go big? And I go, what does that mean, go big? He says, you know, this is a tough show. You have to be able to get in people's faces. To which I responded, I believe the words were, you know, I'm originally from Chicago, I'm from the hood, and I'm Puerto Rican. Yeah, I can get in people's face, you know. And then we had a great conversation after that. He says, okay, I think we'd like to fly you out for a screen test. Says, there'll be 2 other people doing a screen test. And I remember my wife telling me, just go in there, be yourself. Just go in there, be yourself, and do what you do. I said, don't try to change anything. Don't try to be somebody you're not. So sure enough, my turn came up, and let's just say that I gave the family quite an awakening when I was doing my part. And so we finished that, and they were telling me, you know, you did real well. And to which I said, do I get a copy of the video? I just want a copy of the sizzle reel. That's all I want, right? And so about, I don't know, I'm going to say about a month later, this part I'm making up, but something like that, they said, hey, we're only going to submit yours to Spike TV. You know, you're the main one. I said, really? Still, nothing's registered. I said, well, let me know. I said, when do you think you'll know? He said, 48 hours. I said, okay, well, you know, let me know. 48 hours, they called me up. Boom, it's yours. So it's called Family Takeovers. We worked with a family in Orlando, Florida, and my job was to come in there and just really help the family out. It's not a financial show, so it's not about cutting up credit cards, stop spending. That's part of it. The other part is, you know, where else can we make more money? The family we were working with, they were like almost $40,000 in debt and running a $1,500 deficit every month. And so my job is to come in and say, okay, what's going on, what's happening? So we got financial issues. We also had some personal issues. You know, there was a situation of infidelity that we had to get over. So we had to deal with that. There were communication issues, budget issues, schedule issues, all kinds of things that many American families are going to be able to relate to. So it's not just a financial show. It's just a smorgasbord of going in there and really helping people get back on the path.
So it's really about economy and psychology, and sorting out the potential that people really have and helping them realize the potential.
See, that was the nugget. That was the nugget, because I realized that the wife really was a great saleswoman. That was her task. And I realized she could be earning more money. Right. I realized the husband was a better manager than what he was getting paid for. Right. And the format of the show is this. I go in there for 5 days. For 5 days, I do everything in terms of, I follow them around for a full day, go to their work, look at their routines, the whole bit. 5 days. Give them recommendations, set up a plan, and then I come back in 90 days, and we find out how they're doing. And we went back in 90 days. It was awesome, man. The transformation was awesome.
Right. So let's assume for a moment that we were able to travel in time, and you take your present experience level, and you revisit with your father who had a drinking problem, who had a problem in feeding his family and providing for you. What would you do as a counselor to him if you were to run the Family Takeover show with your own family?
That's a tough question. Man, that's a hard question. I don't like that question, Gerhard, but I'll do my best to answer it. One of the benefits of the show is that you come in as an outside expert, somebody who people are willing to listen to, right? And so I have to make one assumption in this example, in this scenario, that I am an outsider. Right. And one of the biggest problems that I would have in trying to transform this family is that, one is that there were 7 of us. Somebody wasn't thinking about the economics here, about how do you pay for all these kids, right? So now you have to figure out how do you get these, how would you get the husband, my father in this case, more education so they can get a better job, right? And my mother was disabled at the time, so there's not much you can do there. So in this case, the options would be very limited. So the honest answer is I really don't know what I would suggest, because I think that would be a tough scenario to break out of.
I would like to argue that in every difficulty, there is opportunity to be found. And if you look at your 6 brothers and sisters, your siblings, probably there would be potential that you can find by looking at them and say,
I would have to get one of my brothers out of selling drugs to convince him not to do that anymore. That would be a good thing, right? My other brother decided to get married and leave the house. My sisters did go to school. They got a 2-year degree, which was very nice, associate's degree. So they did well. They did well. They're doing well. And so I think for my father, I guess I would only consult him. You got to stop the drinking. You got to get past this. There's got to be a way to, because maybe that was impacting his ability to actually get a raise or move up within the company that he was working with. One could argue that as well.
But what I like about your show is that you use 2 qualities that I would call as being firm, the capacity to be firm and tough, and the other one, the capacity to be friendly and loving and nurturing. I would like to think that the way you come across in your show is that you have, with those 2 levers, a transformational system and process that can help anybody.
From the outside, what was fascinating about this, this family was, from the outside, the ideal American family. Right? Husband, wife, 3 kids, ideal house, the whole thing. Really nice, right? Just beautiful. You see the lawn, perfect. Just beautiful family, 2 cars, the whole bit. But as soon as you just start scratching a little bit, looking behind the curtain, just cracking that thing open, all of a sudden you start seeing the imperfections. And this is what I think you'll see a lot. Why the show's going to resonate, because I think a lot of people in America hide behind the facade of everything's fine. You start seeing that there's a lot of people out there who are struggling, but out here they try to keep up with the Joneses, keep up pretenses. And so one of the things I found myself doing is I had to sell them. I had to sell them on the idea that, one, they could get out of debt. They couldn't see it. They just couldn't see it. Sometimes, in technology, there's something called line of sight. I have to be able to see it in order to believe it, type of thing, or reach that signal. They didn't have the line of sight. They couldn't see it, and that was interesting.
They were not aware.
They were not aware. And when we also looked at their personal value, like the wife turned out to be a great saleswoman. He turned out to be a great manager. He didn't see it. 90 days later, when they had the new jobs, they're like, aha, I knew this. But they didn't have that line of sight. So part of it is elevating the expectations. I think sometimes too often we undermine our own expectations. We don't think we're good enough. We don't value ourselves enough. And that's not touchy-feely existential stuff. I'm talking about, you have skills. People should pay you what you're worth for those skills, and that's what they had to learn.
It's a wonderful moment, and also it underlines a truth that a lot of people who are watching this program need to realize, that sales transformation can actually lead to family transformation.
It is. It's a belief system. Do you believe in your product? In the case of an individual, you got to believe in you. You are the product, and I think people don't see themselves features, benefits.
The thing that I like about your personal story, your personal transformation, is that you sold yourself to a better you, and see what you're doing now, helping other families become sort of a replica of your DNA, which is self-transformation through sales transformation.
If people can just reach in the back of their neck, grab their price tag, look at it, says, no, I'm worth more than this, and toss it mentally, that's what they have to do.
Love it.
You know what I mean? I think as soon as people start valuing themselves more, I think your attitude changes. Because all of a sudden, you had to see them. They had, both of them, husband and wife, had a different walk. They had a different talk. Because now they were being paid more. They were given more responsibility in both cases, because somebody actually told them. Some guy named Victor came along and says, hey, you're worth more.
Right. Well, congratulations, Victor, to Family Takeover. Watch that show. And what is your website?
Website is victorantonio.com. That's simple.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much. All right, appreciate it.